Hey, I'm Exi, and this is my ultimate farming guide for the crew Motorfest. Let's go! So, before you actually load up the game and start farming XP, money, or parts, I would suggest you do first 4 things before you actually start the game. The first thing is get yourself something to drink. The second thing, get yourself something to eat. And make yourself comfortable because you are in here for a while. And so number 4 would be put up your favorite show. So like a series, like a movie, whatever you want. It's less painful if you do so. Let's say it this way, yeah? This guide is for pretty much everything. So you get XP, you can get parts, and you can also get money. What you keep in mind, for every single race, for every single feat that I will show you, is actually necessary that you put your legend points exactly like you want. If you want to farm money, you should put it in rich. If you want to farm XP, you should put your points in legend, and so on and so on. If you have enough points, I would suggest to get every point in rich, legend, goldfinger, lucky, and the other ones doesn't really matter. It's not really necessary. There's also, for some of the feats that I show you, is not really that bad if you have skilled set. The first thing would be you can do a feat while grinding your ground vehicle parts. So except boats and planes for this one. It's in the American Muscle playlist, and there is a feat called Makakilo River. Get over there and complete the objective which is required to complete this, and then go for the rewind, so you'll end up in the red circle, so it goes a lot quicker. So now I completed it, press rewind, and then I will go for the retry again. I will show you one more time. This is also very useful for if you're just getting started, because you don't need to do anything else besides drive along the road and do the objective and then hit retry. So you can do this while using a naked car pretty much, which has no performance parts whatsoever. There's another feat which is pretty good. It's a slalom one from Mokulaya Beach. It's from the Lamborghini playlist. So this also works with every ground vehicle there currently is category. So just make sure you hit the objective which is required and go for the finish line. If you are using, for example, score breaker parts, you can even cut across the finish line even more and don't need to use every single slalom thing. Alright, so as you can see, there's also a guy here which is using a plane, but I am not gonna show you this because I am not gonna use to it. I hate planes, and I also use for plane parts I use something different, which I will explain to you in a bit. Okay, so let's finish this up. Then, if you don't want to use a feed over and over again, to use a race. So there are actually more races than one you can farm, but there's one race which is pretty efficient. It's under the Electric Odyssey playlist, and it's the event called Hammer Express event. This is also a race which I really recommend if you're just getting started to farm parts, to farm whatever you need, yeah? So this is not restricted to money or XP, it's pretty much everything. But I would recommend, if you want to get the most out of your race, to first go into your options. You need to choose this here, so you can't put them if you're in the custom mode, or if you want to set up your race. You need to do this here in this menu. So go here and choose the event difficulty under the difficulty option to 5 out of 5. So it gives even more XP on top of the normal one. So also if you're here, turn rewind to off, because it's better this way. Most races have reset points, and otherwise if you are not turning this off, you can't use this. So if you're farming for XP, make sure you use maybe even a main stage car that gives a little bit of XP on top of the normal one, and also make sure every part that you have that gives more XP or gives more money, whatever you want to farm, is strongly recommended. Alright, so head right here, and if you arrive at the church, go left, then go another right, across the bridge, and now there are coming huts on the right. Go for the right here, immediately head right on this little road towards this jump. After this jump, press immediately rewind or reset, then you'll end up on this dirt road and just drive along it. And pretty much follow the road. And now you can already see the finish line is right over there. So avoid the brushes and falling trees on the left side here, because it gives more damage to your car, which I wouldn't suggest to do so. And then immediately head for the straight here and go for the finish line. Then I will show you the results. So it's like 11k XP, and also as you can see I got a legendary part as well. There's another race which I am not really a fan of, but I used also sometimes. It's under the vintage playlist, and this race is Kiss Me Call Me. This race is actually a little bit harder, I think, because there's AI in it, and yeah, it's a little bit more challenging. So if you do this on difficulty 5 out of 5, it could be a little bit more stressful. I will not show you the race, because this race is pretty straightforward. This is what you also can use. It gives, I think, one more part. I think it gives every time 5 parts. If you don't have any parts, that gives you more loot, or yeah, have it via the legend point unlocked. And also it gives more money. Alright. So this was pretty much for every ground car, but there's also an exception, because if you're using off-road cars, you can use the escape one, you can even use the Hammer Express event, you can even use this one here, but I would suggest to use a race under the off-road playlist. This is called Friday Night Rides, so you need to choose another custom mode here, go for the clean driving, and then you pretty much are good to go. This race you can also complete while using motocross, rally, rally raid, and monster truck. Works perfectly fine with this race. Also, there's a feat you can do while using off-road cars. The feat I'm going to show you is also in the off-road addict playlist, and it's the Kunia Fields. It's also an escape one, which has a distance from 560 meters. And it's pretty easy to use. Just head for straight here and just complete this. And as before, if you complete the objective, just hit rewind, so you'll end up in the red circle and it goes a lot quicker. And go for the retry here. So I will show you the whole process while using an off-road car. I just saw I haven't even got parts on it, but now you can see the perfect result if you're using a car from the scratch. Yeah. Just make sure you use boost every time, because if you're resetting your car, you get the boost back. Now up to the boat parts farm. I recommend also a feat, which is by far the quickest method. I am not using any race whatsoever. I always used this type of method. It's also a feed. It's under the Off-Road Addict playlist, and it's called the North Fork something river. So just use a boat of your choice and go for it right here. As soon as you hit the objective again, press rewind to land up in the red circle and press retry to go for it again. So this is pretty much my only method which I am using for both parts. You can use also this exactly escape run while using planes, but as I mentioned earlier, I'm not gonna show you because I tried it and got frustrated so many times because my plane does not what I want, and I hate flying planes in this game. I did before in the Crew 2 and I did also now in the Crew Motorfest, so I will show you one method which I am using, which is quite easy to use, even if you are a bad as a pilot as me. So it's the playlist from ONS, so it's Ocean and Sky. It's a low altitude one, Miliani. It's the first one that you can use, and also right next to it is the one Kuapa. So this is also useful. Yeah, both of them are pretty easy to use. The first one, Miliani, just fly already towards the bottom, fly as low as possible, and I will only use my drift to change my direction. So direction from right to left while using these drift turns via the boat. And yeah, you don't need to have a multiplier of 3, that is not required because I just hit the target while using a pretty low multiplier. So just make sure you hit the objective, that the time runs out, and as soon as it does, you can go for the retry here and do this over and over again. So the other one is, as I mentioned earlier, it's pretty much the same. I think it does requirement less, even less points than what I just did. It requires like 300 or so less points, but it's the same method as before. This location is even better because you have the river, but as before, just use your drift to use while turning. I hit the objective already. And I just crashed, but this was on purpose, yeah? Alright, so this pretty much sums it up. We got every category that currently is covered. If there comes another one, I will make sure to get to them as soon as possible and make sure I cover them all. But yeah, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask them in the comments below. I will get to them as soon as possible. And also thanks for watching and have a great new year 2024. Bye. So there's actually a bonus for you. Yeah, because the bonus would be there are 2 events which you can use while using ground cars, every category pretty much. That gives you more parts for like 3 categories, or the other race would give you like 2 categories at the same time while using this race. So the first one is also under the Electric Odyssey playlist, and it's the last event, which is called Final Event. So if you're using this race, the first section of this race is off-roading. So I would suggest to use a motocross, rally raid, monster truck, or you can even use hypercar, because the off-road part is very easy to use even on the hypercar. So yeah, this is what you keep in mind. This is completed roughly in 4 minutes. Before the patch I got like 20 parts every time I used it, but now I think it's less. But you need to keep in mind that this race you can actually farm 3 categories at the same time every time you drive it. So I have a separate video on this, so you can use this still but I think it gives less parts now. Yeah. Also, there are a little bit of corner cuts, which I also explain in the video. I will make sure to link them in the description, and also you can now click on the right corner here and see this video for yourself. There is actually a second one, which I can also recommend. It's under the Liberty Walk playlist. It's the first event you are doing in this, and it's called Groundworks. You can get parts for Street 1 and Street 2, but you can also use like Monster Truck and, for example, Hypercar, or Hypercar and Race, or Hypercar and Alpha. So like with the new enabled custom mode, which is now even better, you can actually use every category from Street Tier 1 to Monster Truck. Yeah, and this event takes you about 3 minutes and 30 to complete. It gives parts for like 2 categories at the same time. Yeah, this was my bonus tip or tips. Yeah, just change it up a bit. Yeah, why wouldn't you? Because it gets boring over time if you every time use the same race. I'm talking about experience here, so I can't do it. I mostly get bored after like driving for 30 minutes currently in this game. I don't know why, but it has something to do with my mentality, I know. But yeah, keep that in mind. Just change it up a bit, do some feats, maybe even do some grand races. Even now, until the, I don't know, the 3rd of January, you get more XP and more parts by doing so, but make sure you land up in the top 10, I think, because I completed a race yesterday where I was position 15th, and I got like only 40k XP, which is pretty sad for like 7 minutes or 8 minutes driving. So I can complete the Hummer Express event in this time for like 8 times and get around like yeah, 100k, for example. Yeah, but use grand races if you're into this. Sometimes they are really fun, especially if you're using different categories. Like I got one yesterday, like motocross. Motocross is actually really fun, or even rally is really fun. So keep that in mind and make sure to use this to your advantage. So this sums it up. I hope you enjoyed even the bonus ones. So make sure you leave a like and also subscribe to my channel. I will make sure to keep doing videos for you, so you get the most out of your playing experience in the Crew Motorfest and maybe even other racing games that comes up. Alright, bye.